Of course, one of the big challenges families face as they think about the future of their ranch is answering the question, what will the beef industry be like in the future, and what kind of structure do we need to have a profit-making business? We get some insight on that topic as Brian Baxter reports.
No doubt beef cattle prices are strong today, but what are the business challenges and opportunities as the beef industry looks ahead to 2025? Dr. Bill Meese provided some insight at the International Livestock Congress in Denver.
What I saw is that in the cow-calf area, we would expand, in the short run at least, in the next couple of years, because economics are there. Everything's kind of lined up for more cows than what we had before. There are some things that will retard that. There are some things that will prevent it from being a runaway, like the availability of land and the cost of land and government regulation and so on. All of those things, and the age of the ranchers who are running operations today, all of that will tend to hold it in check. But I forecast that by 2025 we would have about the same number of cows that we had today. And that may not be treated as good news until you consider that we've been going down in cow numbers since 1976. And if we can stabilize them and hold them steady for the next 10 or 11 years, that's a giant win for the cattle industry.
Dr. Meese says high prices at the retail level could ultimately reduce consumer demand for beef. He also says the U.S. packing industry has been closing plants, slowly bringing capacity in line with the supply of cattle. While the economics for cow-calf producers do look strong over the next several years, he says expansion is not a given for all producers.
The age of cattlemen and farmers, people in agriculture in general, has always concerned me. If you look at Midwestern farmers, we're looking at a 59 to 60 year average age. Looking at ranchers, we're looking maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years more than that. And when you look at the things that we've done in this country to have nicer, more luxurious, work-easing kinds of lives, if you're 70 years old, as I am, and somebody says, you know, you could run 25% more cows out there and make 25% more hay and process 25% more calves, and I'd say, do I really want to do that? And I'd have to think a long time before that answer would turn out to be yes. And so I think that's another one of those issues that, while the economic signals may be there, and it'll be an individual decision on people's part, but it will slow that down. It won't be an automatic yes that I would try to do that. People will think their way through whether they really want to work that much harder than they're currently working today.
And for younger people working to get started in the cattle business, Dr. Meese says the barriers to entry now and in the future will require some creative business structures.
What I have spent a lot of time teaching students at Texas A&M is that if you're going to get started in ranching or in the stocker cattle business, you need to familiarize yourself with the concept of leasing, and you will lease until you're old enough to own, because that's your only real entree into this business. In order to get the loans that you're going to need, you're going to have to tie up some grass and be able to show a banker that I've got this much country and I can put this many cattle on it and manage them in this way. And then someday you'll go into him and say, well, I bought some property and now I want to finance that with you as well. That's the way the young people will have to deal with this business. The price of land today is just beyond reason for a young person starting out.
Dr. Meese also believes that while the U.S. will remain a strong beef exporter in the years ahead, producers will also be competing with a rising tide of beef imports into the U.S. market leading up to 2025. I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.